Tonight on CFTK-TV News, police chase a stolen vessel off the coast of Prince Rupert, an update on the Kittamat ice rink, and a golf scramble fundraiser this weekend in Terrace.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday, June 19th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We begin tonight with our news that's local to the Northwest. Police say a man who stole a fishing boat tried to ram an RCMP vessel and shot flares at them while being pursued in the waters off Prince Rupert earlier this week. Mounties say they arrested the 25-year-old alleged boat thief after a dangerous nighttime chase that quickly escalated as the rogue vessel evaded two police boats. RCMP say the chase lasted for more than an hour and ended after the man ran the stolen vessel aground. Mounties say the chase endangered everyone on the water, but no one was injured during the risky aquatic pursuit. Police say the stolen boat was recovered and towed away, while the alleged thief has not yet been charged. They say the case involved multiple agencies, including the RCMP's West Coast Marine Services, Prince Rupert and Port Hardy RCMP, the Canadian Coast Guard, and the Metlakatla First Nation. The District of Kittamat has updated us on the status of the Kittamat ice rink a little over a year after it caught on fire. CFTK-TV's Kale Maslin has more on what's happening with the building.
Almost a year and a half ago, on March 17, 2024, the Kittamat ice rink was hit with quite a bit of damage by a fire that was later believed to have been caused by an electrical issue. And after spending about a year working out details with an insurance company and selecting a contractor to do the repairs, the work to make the rink usable again finally began recently. But repairs aren't the only things that will be done as part of this project.
But also included in there is a complete cleaning of the facility to ensure that there's no leftover material from the repairs, or not from the repairs, from the fire left in the facility, such as soot and ash. There's going to be a complete painting of the facility. We're replacing all the lights, the ice lights. We are also replacing all the boards and the flooring within the facility so that when people come to the facility, they'll see not a brand new arena, but a refurbished arena.
Technicon Industries was the contractor who was selected to do the repairs as well as the upgrades to the rink. They started their work on about the 1st of June, and Kittamat's Director of Leisure Services provided an update on how they are progressing to this point.
They're doing the final survey of what they need to do and starting to put things in process or in place for the first part of the repairs, which is removal of the boards and the ice boards, removal of any damaged wood, things like that from the fire, other materials, and then they will be doing a complete cleaning of the facility before they start any painting and so forth.
Ultimately, the expectation is that the rink will be open for the public to use by the 2026 fall season. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
The Terrace Community Foundation is gearing up for a meaningful day on the green, bringing the community together this Sunday for its annual Golf Scramble tournament, and this year it carries special meaning. CFTK-TV's Helen Asante has more.
The event is not only a chance to swing some clubs, it's a powerful reminder of how one person's dedication can shape a community. The tournament is being held in honor of the late Nam Perry. The game is more than just a friendly competition, it's a tribute.
Norm was a member of our board for a number of years and was the chair of the board when he got ill, unfortunately, and he actually passed away in 2023. And he was a huge champion of the Terrace Community Foundation, and the foundation really grew and the endowment really grew under his leadership.
With a great deal of sponsorships, proceeds from the tournament will go toward future community initiatives supported by the foundation.
Last year we raised about $20,000 for the Community Foundation, and that the majority of that went right into the endowment fund. Yeah, so it was a huge success. So we're expecting the same this year. One of the things that's different this year is that we have pretty considerable sponsorship. We've been very lucky with generous support from the community.
Registrations are still open.
Well, it starts, we have registration at 1 to 1:30, so it's obviously at the Skeena Valley Golf and Country Club. Takes a little while to get everybody registered and out on the course because it's a 2 o'clock shotgun start. And then after the golf scramble, we have up in the clubhouse, we have a silent auction and a dessert auction. And we have a wonderful dinner being prepared by Jean-Francois, the chef up at the golf course, who does an amazing job.
Though Nom has passed on, his legacy continues to bring people together. His family will be in attendance celebrating his impact and spirit alongside community members and golf lovers. Helen Asante, CFTK-TV News.
The BC Wildfire Service says there is a risk of thunderstorms across central and northern BC today, increasing the chance of lightning-caused wildfires. There are currently about 85 wildfires burning in BC, and nearly 80% of them were caused by lightning. The service says some of the province will see cooler temperatures tomorrow and into the weekend, with some areas expected to get heavy rain. The forecast comes as 2 previous wildfires of note are now rated as being held, leaving just 1 fire of note in the province. Coming up next, measles on the rise in BC. Welcome back. The New Democrats have taken allegations of blackmail by some members of the legislature to the RCMP, even though Conservative leader and Nechako Lakes MLA John Rustad was the first to make the claims. The chair of BC's New Democrat caucus, Stephanie Higginson, says she wrote a letter to Mounties asking that they investigate Rustad's claims against those who left his caucus, even though he didn't name them. Higginson said in an open letter addressed to Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald that British Columbians deserve to know whether Rustad has any evidence to support his accusations. And an increase in cases of measles has Northern Health warning of the surge and is actively adding immunization clinics in the region, as well as urging everyone to get vaccinated. Here's CTV's Penny Davlos.
Hospitals in northern British Columbia are hours apart, and many people don't have easy access to a doctor. That's why having 18 confirmed cases of measles in the north is likely an undercount of the true number.
It's a part of a national and international resurgence of measles. So there is a possibility that there are other measles cases.
Another 2 suspected cases over the weekend saw 1 person hospitalized for a time. Northern health officials say there's a pattern to the infections.
Right now we are seeing a cluster of family and friends through the unimmunized kind of individuals that we are seeing. That's where the measles is spreading, and we're seeing that confirmed cases and epidemiological linked cases.
It may not be a coincidence that northern BC also has a lot of traffic with Alberta, where cases are much higher. 2/3 of the cases across the country are in teens and children. Communities including Windsor are already preparing for a potential surge in the coming months as kids mingle at summer camps.
We have all of those fun aspects in place, just with a few extra safety precautions in place as well.
The Alberta Medical Association wants to see pharmacists be allowed to vaccinate, as well as roving clinics in communities.
We need it at hockey arenas, we need it in schools, we need it at swimming pools, we need it everywhere.
Northern Health already held a special measles vaccination clinic over the weekend in Fort St. John.
We are starting with that Northeast and Peace River region. We are adding additional immunization clinics and opportunities, as well as additional public communications.
With childhood immunization rates dropping in BC, doctors are reminding parents this is one of the most studied, longest running, and effective immunizations against a virus that could lead to severe illness and even death. Penny Davlos, CTV News, Vancouver.
A child with a rare degenerative disease has lost coverage for the unaffordable drug that's keeping her alive. CTV's Brendan Strain explains.
For the family of Charlie Pollock, it's devastating news.
There is no evidence to support changing the discontinuation criteria or to support the ministry continuing to provide coverage for Bernera given advanced stage of Charlie's condition.
The BC Conservatives pouncing on the decision.
The healthcare authority should be ashamed.
Charlie suffers from Batten disease, a rare neurodegenerative disorder that leads to the progressive loss of brain function and will ultimately lead to her death. Diagnosed at the tender age of 3, after Charlie began suffering from relentless seizures, she was put on the drug Bernera, which slowed the progression of the disease and stopped the seizures completely.
Their journey, like all families who have a child diagnosed with a rare illness, is one that is filled with uncertainty and fear and endless advocacy.
In February, the province informed Charlie's medical team that she would no longer be covered for the expensive drug, costing $844,000 per year. Charlie's team then appealed that decision. The health minister stepped in, extending the treatments while the appeal process was ongoing.
The last 5 months have been agonizing.
This was Charlie's mother, Jory Fales, last week, after being notified by the province that a decision will be coming out before the 19th of June.
It's my last mother's plea. This is a crucial decision that affects my daughter's life and our family, and I just want them to make the right decision.
Charlie's mom, Jory, understandably not available for comment today. The province's Expensive Drug and Rare Disease Committee was tasked with making the decision that ultimately found Charlie no longer fit the criteria for the drug coverage. During that process, the committee asked the Canada Drug Agency to do an evidence-based review on Bernera. The findings of that report gave Jory hope.
Insufficient data to establish discontinue criteria. Without appropriate data to help inform stopping drug, discontinuation should truly be a clinical decision made with the healthcare team and the families impacted by this disease.
The critic for rural health says he understands that tough decisions have to be made, but it's the way the province went about its appeals process by not communicating with the family for the past 5 months.
The up and down decision making and the lack of transparency from the health authority around this is truly appalling.
Tomorrow will be Charlie Pollock's final Bernera infusion. After that, Charlie will no longer have access to the life-preserving drug that her mother says keeps her alive.
Bernera is the only defense against this horrible disease, so if you take it away, she will decline, lose more skills, and will leave us.
Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
It's shaping up to be a beautiful weekend in the Northwest. Let's take a look now at your Northwest weather report. Tonight on the North Coast, expect conditions to be mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers this evening, clearing this evening with a low of 9 degrees. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect steady sunshine for the next 3 days, then a few clouds coming in on Monday. Daily highs between 14 and 17 degrees, overnight lows between 9 and 11 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace Kittamat area, expect it to be partly cloudy with winds from the south at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40, becoming light this evening, a low of 10 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace Kittamat area, expect a hot and sunny weekend, temperatures getting up to 29 degrees Saturday and Sunday, then a few clouds coming in to start the week. Overnight lows between 12 and 15 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking partly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers this evening, clearing overnight, a low of +3 with patchy frost. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking warm and sunny until Monday when you'll get a chance of showers. Daily highs in the low to mid-20s, overnight lows between 7 and 11 degrees. Checking your highways around the Northwest now. On Highway 16, there's construction in Prince Rupert with a detour in effect. Watch also for bridge maintenance, mowing, utility work, and sweeping. On Highway 37, watch for bridge construction and maintenance, as well as frost heaves and a material spill. On Highway 37A, there's a section to watch for falling rocks. On the Niska Highway, there's bridge maintenance going on, and this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, G7 wrap-up in Alberta. Too many near misses have residents of BC calling for better management of intersections. Here's CTV's Yasmin Gandam.
Crashes like this aren't uncommon across the Lower Mainland, and according to new data, these safety concerns carry across Canada. CAA watched 20 intersections around the country over 7 months using cameras and artificial intelligence. The results: 1 in every 770 pedestrians and 1 in every 500 cyclists were involved in a high or critical risk near miss with a vehicle.
That's almost a cyclist every single day that's coming into an intersection and having a conflict with a vehicle. So I don't know, I would say that that's a pretty scary number.
The majority of close calls involved right-turning vehicles, followed by left-turning vehicles and through vehicles.
Careless drivers and careless bike riders, so it's equal. I have to keep my eyes open all the time.
CAA is urging municipalities to make intersections safer by creating more left-turn lanes, pedestrian-first signal crossings, and advanced green lights for left-turning vehicles, something Two Hump Cycling in Vancouver is already advocating for.
Just infrastructure doesn't help. We'll have to make sure that there are other technologies that can help with enforcement. So red light cameras are across the province. Speed cameras are across the province.
Vision Zero Vancouver is also calling for change, saying the responsibility is not just on drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians.
So Vision Zero Vancouver, we had a campaign to lobby the BC government to ban right turn on red in the Motor Vehicle Act last year, but it didn't go anywhere.
Data from ICBC shows the top 3 most dangerous intersections are along the Alex Fraser Bridge, the Highway 1 off-ramp in Langley, and Grandview Highway in Burnaby, where there are hundreds of crashes every year. Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Vancouver.
As the G7 has wrapped, we hear now from those involved in putting it all on. Here's CTV's Tim Brutch.
I almost hung up. I thought it was a prank.
That's the reaction tool shed owner Graham Sherman had when he was tapped to cook for the G7. Months later, he's still in shock and in need of a nap.
I was cooking for 3 days straight, all-nighters on the barbecue. So we got to see all the world leaders come through. We talked to them. They wanted to come check out the barbecues.
Sherman and his son grilled under the watchful eye of Canadian security and the Secret Service.
There is a 17-year Navy veteran that is in charge of watching over every piece of food that gets handed to the president.
He can't say if Donald Trump enjoyed or even ate his barbecue, but he now claims to know the president's food order.
What had to be ready at all times was shrimp cocktail and ice cream, spaghetti and meatballs.
Across the way, retailer Kananaskis Outfitters was cleared to stay open during the summit, though they didn't have much of a view.
We saw, support staff from all the G7 countries, some people that work for the UN, lots of the, Canadian security details.
And Tuesday, the shop received a visit from the Australian Prime Minister.
They just came in, they were like, their meetings were done and they had a fun little shopping experience, so that was pretty cool.
23 years after meeting the Japanese leader, the Moose Family Kitchen owners weren't so lucky this summit.
It was a little bit more tighter, restricted access for us, being obviously the nature of the times right now.
Even still, those involved call it a worthwhile event.
For us to get that kind of exposure and have them there, and then hopefully we will see them back with their families.
But first, the controlled access zone around K-Country is in effect until Thursday. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Kananaskis.
Canada is setting up new rules to limit foreign steel and aluminum entering the country. The U.S. has imposed 50% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, but the two countries are now in the process of negotiating a new trade deal. Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index ended lower despite strength in energy stocks as the price of oil moved higher. The Canadian dollar fell about 0.3 cents. The price of gold dropped $20.80. Oil gained 31 cents. Natural gas rose by 7 cents. Aluminum was up $15.50. In Toronto, the TSX dropped almost 54 points. The venture index fell almost 3 points. In New York, the Nasdaq had no change and the Dow Jones had no change. Still ahead, the BC-born NHL playoff powerhouse. After weeks of criticism from First Nations leaders, the federal government has amended its major projects bill to withdraw the power it gave Cabinet to sidestep the Indian Act. The Liberal government's controversial legislation, which would allow Cabinet to quickly grant federal approvals for big industrial projects, sailed through committee. Amendments to the bill made in committee include the removal of the Indian Act from a list of laws the government can sidestep when determining whether a project should move forward. The legislation, which has support from opposition Conservatives, is expected to pass tomorrow. Although some may be disappointed that it's not a Canadian team hoisting the Stanley Cup this year, one star player of the Florida Panthers was born and raised in BC. Here's CTV's Shannon Patterson.
When Sam Reinhardt opened the scoring for his Florida Panthers in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, his parents and brothers from West Vancouver were in the stands.
His first goal, it was exciting, and then, of course, scoring the second, let alone the third and fourth. I mean, it's an amazing experience because the whole building erupted.
Reinhardt's 4-goal performance propelled the Panthers to their second straight championship. And unlike last year, when his family watched Florida hoist the cup from their living room in West Van, the whole Reinhardt clan was on the ice to help Sam celebrate.
It's pretty great. Like, you don't think you're raising kids that this is ever going to happen, but we're pretty excited about it. And his brothers were here, both his brothers were here, who definitely helped him with his dad to get there. So it was very nice to be here this year.
Sam Reinhardt got his start with the Hollyburn Huskies, the youngest of 3 sons who all played hockey, just like their dad, who made his own trip to the Stanley Cup Final.
The old adage, it takes a village. And in this instance, I think that Sam would be the first to say it took a family.
And it also takes all our friends that became our family in the hockey community because, I mean, they help you drive. We had 3 boys, 3 different teams sometimes. There's only 2 of us, and it's a West Van effort.
While Reinhardt's game-winning goal last year in Game 7 of the final was the culmination of a dream,
the second time is in many ways more difficult because you just realize how hard it is to get there.
being there in person allowed the Reinhardts to experience a champagne-soaked Stanley Cup celebration.
We're not as young as we were, but
We lasted till 4 a.m.
they're still going.
They're on 2 hours sleep, but it's okay.
And the party is continuing in South Florida at a Vancouver-based restaurant.
The new Earls just opened up here tonight.
So the whole team is taking the cup, and we're families, coaches, players are all going over to Earls, their spot down here, and we're going to celebrate again tonight.
Last year, when Sam had his day with the cup, he brought it back to where it all started, Hollyburn Country Club. At some point this summer, he will get the chance to bring it home again. Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
That's our news for now. Thanks for watching.